Okay, way too much negativity out there. We're going to tell you a fun, funny, interesting story. It's a historical story, somewhat, but guess what? It's about Randy Blaukat. That's right. From back in the day, I've been fishing a long time, folks, long time, and I've been fishing a lot of different tournaments for a number of years. We're going to tell you a story all the way. Let's hit the way back machine. Go back to 2000. I believe it's 2002. We had a Ranger M1 tournament. FLW Outdoors ran that tournament. It was a big money tournament. They had one a few years before down in Florida, but then they had this one on the Mobile Delta. So you're thinking, not the greatest fishery, but I like tidal fisheries. I think everybody knows that now. Been around for a while. Like tidal fisheries. Grew up fishing tidal fisheries. Tidal fishery down there in the Mobile Delta. It was a big money. I want to say it was like a $3,000 or $4,000 entry fee, which was astronomical at the time. It might have been more than that. I don't exactly remember, but I made a check, did all right, got my money back and then some. But on the final day, the top 10 day, we had back then, it was only my like a second year on tour, so I was running camera boats for FLW if I didn't make the top 10. I did it a number of times, did it for Anthony Gagliardi, other guys along the way. So sure enough, I told him, hey, if I don't make the top 10, I'll run your camera boat. So that tournament, I get paired to run the camera boat for Randy Blaukat, none other than Randy Blaukat. Randy and I knew each other. Just in a short time I'd been on tour. We crossed paths a couple times. So we were cordial. We knew each other. The cameraman that he had was, I believe his name was Kerry. And Kerry at the time was filming for Hank Parker, filming all his TV shows. Believe it or not, Kerry was my cameraman in a top 10 that I was in, I believe earlier that year or the previous year, something like that. So I already knew Kerry, and so we knew, everybody knew everybody, so to speak. Randy makes the top 10. That was $1 million tournament. 1 million for first place. A lot of contingencies on that, but you were going to win somewhere between 500,000 and $1 million if you won that tournament. The fishing was very, very tough, very hard to catch a limit. In that tournament, there was a local, I think it was Jason Kilpatrick was a local in that tournament. He made the top 10. 10 or 11 pounds was a big bag each day. 12 pounds, I think, was about the biggest anybody had seen going into that final day. Well, that final day, Randy runs upriver. He'd been kind of managing one of these creeks. It was a little skinny creek and went way, way up off the main river channel. Water was dropping a little bit, so it was kind of getting right to where he wanted it. And so we run up there, and it's a real narrow creek. So Randy said, you wait here. I'll put the camera operator with me, and then Kerry and I will go up the creek. We'll fish. Call you if you need anything. Okay, cool. So I sat out at the mouth of this creek all day. I'm sitting there, looking at the trees. We didn't have cell phones that had internet back then, so I'm not on there playing solitaire or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm just hanging out, waiting for something. All of a sudden, I get a phone call, and it's Kerry. He's like, "Hey, man, he's happy." And this is like, time to run in. So I didn't know how they were doing. I didn't know how he was doing. Didn't know what kind of bag he had. So we go. So I run up this creek, probably a mile and a half or so. Finally, run into them. They're there, and I'm like, "Hey, what's the deal?" Because I turned on the live wells to fill up in the camera boat. I said, "Man, what's the deal?" And he said, "Man, the motor won't start. Yeah, I could tell he was kind of nervous. And Randy's pretty smooth character under pressure, So I was like, "Ooh, he's a little nervous. This is interesting." So we pull boat to boat. I open up the live well, and he starts putting the fish from his boat into the camera boats. Camera boat's running fine. So he puts one fish in, puts another fish in, and these are good ones. These are like 2 3/4 to 3 pounders. I was like, okay. So he didn't have a dink in the bag. And then he put his fifth one in. I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my God, he's got 14 or 15 pounds. Like, dude's probably going to win $1 million, right? I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Like then I started getting nervous, and they were like, hey, what are you gonna do? I mean, Randy's like, hey, what are you gonna do? I'm like, dude, go, check in, go get, go weigh your fish. Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. I'll be fine. It's no big deal. So he runs out of the creek. I'm sitting there, started looking around, said, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do in this situation, right? So I went to turn the key over. I was like, oh, I want to hear what it's doing. He said it's not starting. So I turned it over and just went. Drrr, drrr. I thought about it for a second. I said, man, I didn't hear the beep. So I looked, and the kill switch was still attached. But sometimes you have to reset it. So I pulled the kill switch off, put the kill switch back on, turned the key, and I heard beep, beep. Fired right up. So the kill switch had just kind of come loose, and you couldn't visually tell. And I mean, I guess he was just nervous, So I'm like, well, shoot. I mean, this is 2 minutes after he left, 3 minutes. So I put the boat in gear, run out of the creek. As I run out of the creek, here comes one of the other competitors. I believe it was Jason Kilpatrick, because he was fishing upriver from where we were. We were about 10 minutes north of the ramp where we took off, and he was north of that. I'm pretty sure it was him. He came running by. I said, well, shoot, man, I'll just fall in behind him, because I didn't really know where I was going. I didn't fish that section of the river. So I popped in behind Jason. Go, man, he took me some back way and went across some flats and through a couple little cuts, and next thing you know, boom, there we are at the boat ramp. I'm like, all right, cool, we're back at the boat ramp. It's it was next to the causeway. So we get back to the boat ramp, and I'm sitting there just kind of waiting for for him to back the boat and truck down. All of a sudden, guess who comes in? Randy comes running in about a minute or two after I'd gotten there. Dude, he comes by and he looks over. And dude, he did a double take, just about broke his neck. He was like, oh my God. So he goes over, I watch him, he goes over like 50 yards, checks in, turns around and like power idles back over to me. And he goes, how did you beat us here? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I just followed another boat in. He's like, what was wrong with the boat? I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll tell you later, man. I'll tell you later. He's like, okay. Because I'm thinking this dude's going to win $1 million, right? So he circles back around, puts it on the trailer. As he's getting ready to weigh in, going towards the arena, because they did it in an arena at that point. Charlie Evans doing the weigh in. It was really cool. I told him what had happened with the kill switch thing, and I'm like, dude, it's no big deal. As I've done it before. So, in my short period at that time, and he laughed. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. But, ended up, David Dudley won that tournament, won $700,000. Randy came in second, won, I think it was like $110,000 in that from all the contingencies. But Randy had 14 pounds. Dudley had almost 16, like 15 something. So that's another whole wild story in itself. Maybe we'll get David to at one day to tell us that story. He had this backwater pond that he had scoped out in practice, and he saved it until the last day, and then he jumped his way in there, got in there, and they were loaded in there, blasted them, and that's how he won the 700 G's. But that was kind of a wild deal. But Randy, I'm sure he remembers this story. If anybody wants to share this story with Randy, please do it. Or if Randy, if you see it, please comment or do your own video on your take on this. On that tournament. I'd be curious to see, but I just thought that was funny. A lot of people seem to enjoy that story, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Drop down your comments if you want to. Any kind of crazy stories like that you've had where you kill switched, wasn't attached, or you did something silly and you almost cost yourself a lot of money. I mean, Randy almost cost himself about $500,000, but he luckily we got him in and everything was good. So pretty funny. That's 2002. It's 23 years ago. It's just it's crazy how time flies when you're out here living your dream. But drop comments down below, and I appreciate it.